Good afternoon. Today's the 25th of February. It's apparently the warmest day in February there's ever been on record. And I'm wearing this coat for some reason. I don't really know why, but one thing I do know, I was wrong about the London ultra-low emission zone. So many of you will have seen a video that I did towards the end of last year about the forthcoming London ultra-low emission zone that comes into force on the 8th of April. That's been one of my most popular videos on the channel, and it's obviously a very controversial topic, but I just want to introduce a few corrections in the light of something that came up earlier this month. So as many of you know, the London ultra-low emission zone, it comes into effect on the 8th of April, and it covers the same area as the current London congestion charge zone. Now, for most people, the congestion charge won't change. It will remain in operation between 7 and 6, Monday to Friday. And there are various vehicles that are exempt from it, mainly hybrid and electric cars and other really low polluting cars. But for most people, it's £12.50 a day. The thing that is changing is the ultra-low emission zone, and just for the sake of clarity, I'll just go over the terms of that once again. So rather than being in operation 7 to 6, Monday to Friday, the ultra-low emission zone is in operation 24 hours a day. And unless you have a car that complies with the ultra-low emission zone, then you have to pay £12 per day. So you can't go in the evening or the weekend and get an exemption. It's a 24-hour a day thing. So one thing I do know for certain is that if your car is a Euro 4 petrol, and those are generally cars manufactured after 2005, or a Euro 6 diesel, and those are generally cars manufactured after September 2015, then they are not subject to the ultra-low emission zone. So you can continue to go in just as you would have done with the congestion charge. If you want to avoid it, just go in the evening or the weekend. That's no problem. But there is one category of vehicle that I have found that also is exempt from this, and I'm not talking about classic cars which were built before 1979, because those aren't subject to it either. When I was with a client earlier this month, we were looking for a very cheap car for him, less than £1,000. His 20-year-old Astra was running on 3 cylinders and about to die, so we needed something very quickly. We found a 2005 Vauxhall Vectra, which is a petrol, 1.8 petrol, and you know, I said to him, I don't think this is going to be compliant. The car is not after 2005, it's early 2005, so you're going to have to get another car. But when we looked on the government's official ultra-low emission zone checker, it was actually coming up as being fine. And that was a real surprise to me. So as you know, the boundary of the ultra-low emission zone from April will be the congestion charge zone is in operation at the moment, and in October 2021, it'll be extended to the boundary of the North and South Circular. So he lives quite close to where the North Circular is, therefore it was actually a thing for him to know. And he's found that his car's compliant with it, which is absolutely great. And there are probably other cars that were built before 2006 that also are. And let me just explain how you check this. So from 2000, the legislation was in place that was forthcoming for manufacturers to be able to see, you know, the restrictions as to how to get their cars, you know, ready for the forthcoming restrictions. So cars manufactured after the 1st of January 2006 that were petrol had to comply with Euro 4 legislation. Obviously some cars actually got there early and got there first, and clearly this 1.8 Vauxhall Vectra was Euro 4 compliant well before 2006, which is why it's not subject to the ultra-low emission zone. If your car's a diesel, then it probably could be like this. I mean, there probably were some diesels manufactured before September 2015 that were compliant with Euro 6 regulations. And the way you check this is either looking on your V5 logbook, your registration document, and it's saying emissions class. Now, if you've got a petrol that says Euro 4 or later, then you're absolutely fine. And there will generally cars after 2006 will have had to have this done anyway, so they'll be okay. But there'll be some that before that were okay too. If you've got a diesel, if it says Euro 6, then you're absolutely fine. It could be that some cars manufactured in 2014 and 15 are Euro 6 compliant, and therefore they'll be fine for the ultra low emission zone. But the cut-off date was September 2015. So if you're buying one that was registered after that, you're absolutely going to be okay. It's just cars before that didn't actually have to be compliant with legislation. So just to go over that again, if you look at your V5 and you see you've got a Euro 4 or later petrol or Euro 6 diesel, then you're absolutely fine, that's no problem. And your car might have been manufactured before 2006 for a petrol, before 2015 for a diesel, but that's on a case-by-case basis. There's another way of checking this as well. If you put your registration number into the TfL Ultra Low Emission Zone Checker, just type TfL ULEZ into a search engine, then you'll be able to find it, and it will tell you whether or not your car will be okay. It's pretty reliable. I've tried it with both the cars that I regularly drive, and we tried it with my client's car, and it worked just fine. So just search that online, and I'm sure that'll tell you all you need to know. So I hope you found that video useful, this little correction to an earlier video, because, you know, we're less than 2 months away now, so there's not long to go. So my Facebook page is facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Website is www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk. Please do have a look, and particularly get in touch via the website if you wish for me to source a car for you, whether it's ultra low emission zone compliant or not. And don't forget to comment and to like this video and to share it if you wish to do that. That'll be wonderful. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.